Okay, I think we're on live. Awesome. Hey guys, this is Christina for Dara Hacks, and it's my honor of hosting today's workshop session with Protocol 101 Architecture. So our speaker for today is Rob, a Depth Relation Manager, and he will introduce our audience in terms of how to setting up a node and executing API calls. So before we jump right into it, here's a little bit of the background information about the hackathon. So Waves Global Hackathon 2022 is running virtually on Dara Hacks from October 15 to December 15. We look forward to you joining us as we bring together different people throughout the industry, from creators, artists, developers, and entrepreneurs to create innovative projects that can run on the Waves blockchain. And this year we have a prize pool valued of 100,000. So this is a place to showcase your talent to the world with cash prizes and both developer and marketing support throughout the event. You could even find yourself with seed funding through the accelerator program Waves Camp. That's awesome. And the note aside, anyone's watching from the YouTube and Binance Live is welcome to raise questions as the workshop go along. And I'll have the comments collected and having Rob answering them by the end. Well, now, without further ado, let's kick in. Rob, feel free to start.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. My goal today is to show you how to install a Waves node, get it up and running, and interact with it on different levels. First of all, a small introduction to how a Waves node technically function. As you might or might not know, Waves is a proof of stake chain. If your node has a generating balance, it will generate when it generates a block, you will get 6 waves in reward, and you will get the transaction fees that are in that block. So to show you the easiest way to get started, obviously you need to have either Debian or Ubuntu or any Linux version of your taste, or even Windows works with Java installed. But today we're going to show you how to install it on Ubuntu with the Debian package. And to get you started, you need to sync the blockchain. We started the blockchain in 2016, so in that sense you have quite a lot of chain to download. I've already gone ahead and did that. In case you need to get the latest snapshot, you can go to blockchain.wavesnodes.com and just download the latest tarball and unpack that. I'll show you how that works in a bit. The second thing you need, obviously, is the Debian package. We also have a gRPC server. Obviously, you'll find the StageNet and testnet servers here as well, but we're going to go straight to mainnet today. So select the correct dep package here, and off we go. And just download that. I mean, installing a Waves node isn't that much, doesn't cost you that much time. Obviously, depending on your connection speed. What takes time is to download the blockchain. So I chose to do that before the workshop started. You'll have a nice package here. As you can see, it's 76 gigabytes to download the latest state. And I've already gone ahead and unpacked it, because that also takes a while in the data directory, which we'll use later on after installing the node. As you can see, I've downloaded the Waves dep package. Let's go ahead and there's one prerequisite you're going to need. I've already put the commands ready for to install either OpenJDK or Java. Oracle Java. So we should have Java installed now. That should allow us to install the latest base version. So now you have a couple of things to set up. First of all, you can go and create on Waves Exchange, or yeah, actually that would be preferable because you need an encoded seed. You create a wallet, and from Waves Exchange you can download your encoded seed and get that into your conf. So as you can see, I've prepared that right here. Don't steal my waves just yet, because we need them during the workshop. So clear that before you guys gonna go. Good. I mean, if you're gonna destroy my workshop, yeah, well, go ahead. I'll find another wallet. So now that we have installed the package, you will find a Waves configuration file. Let me just group myself here because you'll find some standard things to set. I need a wallet password. Please, just for the sake of it, change it. We're going to need a seed to get to the wallet. We're going to run mainnet. So it's pretty straightforward configuration. There is advanced configuration, but you don't really need it. What's convenient for further use is to have REST API enabled, and we're going to be leave it to localhost, but for now I'm going to go and set the node public so you can all even join me later in bashing at the APIs. The port is the default 6869. And usually to do some like interesting things, you need a key hash, but we're not going to set that right now. We might do that a little later. And the name. Sure. We're going to need 1 second to enter the encoded seed in there. So that's that one. The wallet. And then we should be able to start the service. Second. I need to find. Let's forget that. That one. So yeah, as you can see, if you till the service, it's now starting to sync. But sure that we don't have to wait for like a day and a half to get the blockchain synced. We're going to stop the Wave service again, and I'm going to show you how to import the data. The Debian package will have created the folder for Waves for you, where you can find your wallet that's been created. By the way, you can now remove the seed from the config. As soon as you have the wallet created on your server, you can remove the seed from the wallet, and the wallet will be password protected with the password you set in the settings. We'll go into the data directory. I'm going to say, wait, this is faster. Move the data right here, set the user correctly. Sure that the service can write to it, and then when we start the service again, it's going to start up and hopefully import the level DB database I've just copied or moved into it from the tarball package. Let's see if we're now a bit further than the height 3000 that we were on. As you can see, REST API was set on 6869. The node is now using the peers it knows from the default config to get acquainted with the network. And there we go. Database successfully imported, and the chain will now sync up, or the database will now sync up with the current height as soon as there are enough connections to the network. So we skip a whole import from height of 3000 to 3.35 million. Just waiting a little bit for the node to start syncing blocks before we move further. By the way, there's a nice tool on dev.pywave.org where you can see, it won't happen immediately, but there's a tab on nodes where you can see all the nodes connected to the network. You'll eventually end up finding your node in the list. If you have an open API, it will also detect whether or not your node is on the right height or whether it's forked or not. Let's go back to see if we've started to sync up with the network already. Well, anyway, there's a few checks because the API is running. There's a few checks we can do in the meantime. So I've created a wallet, as you saw. I can check with its keeper. The wallet address is supposed to be. Oh, really? Someone already take? Oh, I thought you took all the wave that was on it already. So I'll just get myself a notepad. This is the address of belonging to the seed that I have entered. And I can, still not syncing, very interesting. let me go and take you to some basic calls in scripting we can do with the API. So prepared a small, simple script with Python that imports JSON and imports requests. And basically, I can show you that here as well. If you go to, let me check. This is the node we've just installed. You'll find a Swagger with all the possible API calls, and what we're now going to do is, I mean, obviously I can do it here in Swagger as well. I can ask, like, okay, hello, which address does the wallet of the node have? Does it match the wallet that I expect? Yes, it does. So we've imported the seed correctly. Let me show you the scripted version. It's pretty simple. It's straightforward API calls actually, and the Swagger will mostly just send you in the right direction anyway. And if all is correct, we'll have the same result here. Right? Let me check. Yeah, we're syncing up. I downloaded the blockchain yesterday, so it needs about 1,400 blocks, I guess, to catch up. But that doesn't stop us from going on with showing you some basic stuff that you can do already with the API. I prepared a little script that you can send assets with, but we really need to wait till the blockchain catches up with us. So yeah, no, everything else I have in my mind to check kind of needs the blockchain to be caught up anyway. So what we do not really need the blockchain to be caught up with is, as you've seen in the previous workshop by Vladimir, you can develop smart contracts with ride on Waves, and you can leave data of the state of your smart contract in data transactions in oracles, and we have a cool game on Waves blockchain called Waves Ducks. It has a lot of elements, but I decided to take a rather simple approach. How you can analyze Oracle data with API calls to the node. The game has a marketplace where you can offer your NFTs, and where you have auction bids and instant buy options. I collect all the Oracle data from the auction smart contract. I will get all the started times. I will get all the assets locked in the smart contract for the auction. Yeah, this one I could have left out actually, because there's a possibility to sell your duck for egg or sell your duck for waves in the smart contract. Not really applicable right now. I will fetch all the instant prices that are available and all the start prices that are available. As said, I've kept it as simple as possible to give you an idea of how easily you can get data. As you can see, there's like, I'm asking for certain keys to be returned. You could go and ask for every single key separately, but through experience, I can tell you it's not really the way you probably get taught how to code efficiently. But in this case, you better get all the data and then process it in memory, because in memory is a lot quicker than asking every single key separately from the blockchain. It will take you hours, and now this will be done in under 2 minutes. This game has been running for a year and a half, so it's, I mean, 1.5 minutes seems like a long time, but the amount of keys you're getting is quite a lot. So what I do is create separate key value pairs from what I find in the Oracle to work with, and I match them basically eventually all on auction ID, so I can start looping through them. So basically what this script does is it collects all items that are currently available on the marketplace and will fetch in a loop the start price, the buyout price, the asset ID, and as you can see in between every duck on the marketplace, I go and request the NFT data from the blockchain as well to have a name. So when you go and run the Oracle Python, while that runs, we're going to check here how nicely or not our node is syncing up. I should expect. Yeah, that's cool. So I've reached some limits with the default web server that is in the node, but yeah, that automatically requires us to go even a little bit more advanced. Let me check if I can quickly fix that. Bear with me. That was actually quite interesting why it timed out, because it shouldn't really time out. Well, maybe because, yeah. I see made a little mistake. To do these kind of like heavy jobs, I need more than one CPU pointed to the virtual machine, and the CPU is like fully occupied. Right now with trying to catch up with the current height of the blockchain state. So let me see if I can hang on, guys. Sorry for this short interruption. So what I will do is, outside of the outside of the Waves config, I will configure the web server to give me a 10-minute timeout on doing requests. Let's wait until the server starts. Ooh. I hope I didn't destroy the state there. You can see it didn't really like. Didn't really like that. That's actually quite interesting. I might need to report that to Node team to say, like, hey guys, why can I not restart my Wave service while I'm syncing up with the chain? Well, while it's restarted, I'll just take you along with some interesting things that I wanted to point out what you can do with the API on the node. Apart from everything interact, I mean, it really, like, it couldn't be more straightforward than this, right? If you have a technical background and you're competing in the hackathon, I don't think it needs like a lot of explanation what API call does what. The things that are interesting to have a look at is, for example, blockchain current reward status. You can request. We can't obviously right now. Just see what the rewards at a certain height were. Let me check. Oh, node stop. That was great. Back in the day, when people in 2016, when people would install a node, they wouldn't change the API key, and you could just broadcast node stop to every node on the network. Trust me, that doesn't work anymore, because now by default the API key is not set to something you can do something with. Quickly check. All right. Let's try that again in instant replay. Hopefully this time around it doesn't time out. Split the screen so we can see both at the same time. Let me see what I can check with that. Well, obviously we could say node status and see what it does. It says blockchain height, state height, updated timestamp. So we're now, we're close to sync. See. We're getting there. Meanwhile, he's still trying to get, but I can see HTTP 200 OKs being returned. So that means my collector is collecting Oracle data. And I've just simply, I'll print it on the screen, what data I find. We see, so 7,821. Oh, So this is 854, so Node is still catching up. What else is interesting? Wallet C? Nah, let's not do that. You saw it already. Some tools here where you can encode and decode your seed hash, or encode and decode your API key, decompile scripts. Quite useful tools if you want to figure some stuff out. Which one? I had a few selected. Obviously, well, you never really need it, but yeah, if you have a bogus peer, you can blacklist it. I mean, basic blockchain stuff, right? And there's a very interesting one here, obviously. When you have forked, and in Waves' case, if you fork outside of 100 blocks, you might need to roll back and resync. This can all be done with the API as well. Let me check. Yeah, well, here you can check indeed if there's like feature voting going on for a soft fork. Let me see what it tells us today. Oh, I'm asking difficult questions. So as you can see, we've had different votes in the past for implementation of extra features. We've been coming from a long way. We've lowered the minimum generating balance to take part in the proof of stake network. You now only need 1,000 waves to participate, and being able to generate blocks. One of the biggest jumps in our technology is the switch to NG protocol. I hope I can show you a bit of that. As soon as it's synced, that will get back to that. Mass transfers were added, smart accounts, the first iteration of RIDE, data transactions, the possibility to burn any tokens. Fee sponsorship is where you can have, if you create an asset on Waves, you can pay for the transaction with that asset, as long as you have a sponsor wallet holding Waves, which you point to, and it will pay for the transactions in Waves, and so it will take Waves from that sponsorship account and send the respected selected asset to that account. Fair pause with a different algorithm to make it more balanced, equally balanced over your. It will be a long story. Smart assets, smart account trading. The first more advanced version of RIDE. Order version 3 reduce NFT fee, so it no longer costs 1 Waves to mint an NFT, but the same as any other transaction, 0.001 for minting an NFT. This is where inflation was added to the chain to increase the incentive for staking. And the rest is RIDE upgrades, V4, V5, and V6, also with MetaMask support now. Let me see. Did we? Right, we're outputting here. Good. So very simple, very straightforward. So every duck on the marketplace, it has collected all the data in memory, and now it's matching the right price from the auction oracle with the right duck, and displaying the price in Waves in egg with 8 decimals. But it's very simple and straightforward. But as you can see, you can iterate through any Oracle and collect data the way you want to. The other thing I wanted to show you, we're still syncing up, was a little bit about how NG works. Yeah, it's a bit. Sorry guys, I didn't consider that syncing up with the chain would take almost 30 minutes now. Obviously, I'm maybe a bit my mistake. I've been kicking hard at the node, requesting the Oracle data while it's trying to sync up. So, and I only appointed one CPU to the virtual machine, so that's on me. Someone have a price of 0. That's interesting. Anyway, I'm going to cancel this one because I think we've got the point. So we can actually check on. There we go. Using the classic Waves Explorer because it gives it a little bit more details about what I want to know. And as you can see, this is an NFT that it found, and currently it's on the marketplace. Check. We are doing blockchain wise. So I'll visit another node just to see what the current height is. Height, try it out. We are currently 9227. And where are we at here? Whoa. We're almost 1,000 blocks off still. That is a bit of a thing. Well, I have to jiggle around with my workshop a little bit to make sure we're not just watching the node sync up forever with the chain. So I will explain you a little bit of how to initiate and send transactions with WaveNode API. There's two ways. One way is that you can actually use the node itself to sign the transactions, but then you can only use the seed, the wallet of the node itself. I'll show you that here. So transactions. Sign, you'll just add a transaction JSON payload and send it to the node, obviously with your API key. Otherwise, everyone could sign. And let me see where. Waves.tech, and then I could do that from Swagger now. Oh, it's the confusing bit. Let me see. Yes, you can click in Swagger, and then you will go to the right page in Docs. How you should format your JSON the right way, and then you can send a transaction. Or The other way is halfly checking like where we are. And if I keep talking, we might sync up. Another way to send transactions. I mean, then you don't really need a node. Is to sign the transaction yourself, but you obviously need some sort of signing library to do so. In this case, I've used PyWave's library, which is available with, you can install this with pip. We'll use by default, the PyWave library, you don't need to set a node because it will just go to the general public pool of Waves nodes that are hosted by Waves itself. But for the example, I can show you, you can set your own node, localhost, API port 6869, and we are operating on mainnet. You set your address. In this case, I've used a private key to set our address. And then I use the function sendWaves with a recipient, and I'm going to send an amount of 1, which is, because it's an 8 decimal asset, really, really little. I'm going to spend more on transaction fees than I'm actually sending. Check, because in order to do so, we at least need to be synced. About 400 blocks to go. Check on StreamYard if anyone meanwhile is having any questions. So, don't see any questions at the very moment. But if you do have any questions, feel free to ask. If you're watching this later on Binance or YouTube, then it's going to be a bit difficult to ask any questions, but feel free to hit me up on Telegram or Discord, and I'd be happy to answer your questions or help out if you're stuck somewhere. Or, well, obviously you can pause the video and get every little bit and that we've just discussed, or that I've shown you. Waiting for 200 more blocks to sync up. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do this differently. You guys waiting. So instead of sending it to this node, I'll send it to another node to show you. Wrap a payload with Python, broadcast it to basically any node, and if I now go to Waves Explorer and copy that address, you can see that I've just sent out the minimum amount of waves to another address. So what do you guys think? Should I wait for the node to sync up, or? Well, I guess it doesn't add any value to wait for the node to sync up. I've shown you some basic checks. I've shown you a basic install, basic configuration of a Waves node, some basic API calls, and how to import the data, how to check if you have the right wallet address in the node. So I guess this kind of wraps up the basic workshop of how to install a node. Maybe we'll make it a bit more difficult with more advanced stuff the next time, but have fun at the hackathon, and I hope you're the winning team on Waves, and we'll be happy to help you.
Thank you, Rob, for your presentation. And okay, thank you. And just a question of mine is that, so in comparison, why do you see like Waves is more unique and more for people to develop on?
Oh yeah, that was actually the part. Good. Thank you for reminding me, because that's the bit I had to skip, kind of, because I wanted to show it in action. I think one of the most important advantages Waves has, or maybe two of the most important advantages Waves has, and now you can actually see it happening on screen, is that we use the Bitcoin NG. We have put the Bitcoin NG white paper into action, which means that in where any blockchain in the world, almost any, almost all, they collect transactions in the unconfirmed transaction pool, then you're waiting for a block to pop up and your transaction is confirmed. So that always takes you at least a minute or so. Where with Waves, you can see that here the block is already generated, but it's empty. And then on the fly, we are constantly adding micro blocks to the chain, which means if you send out your transaction, it's basically instantly on chain. This allows for, for example, on if you do some gaming or other things that you need fast confirmations for, that you can rely on the blockchain and transaction confirmations almost immediately. You can almost immediately see them on chain. A second advantage, it's both our disadvantage. It's both our Achilles heel and an advantage right now is our RIDE smart contract language. I think Vladimir in the previous workshop showed already how, if you're a developer, how simple it is to work with our smart contract language. On the other hand, it's a bit of our Achilles heel, because it's really hard to convince people come on, give it a try. Another advantage of RIDE and the way we handle smart contracts is that you have predictable gas fees. You know exactly how much you're going to pay all the way up into the future for your transactions, because there's no, let's say, market or day price for gas. It's a fixed fee. So yeah, I think these are the two key advantages that Waves has.
Awesome. And on the difficult level wise, do you think Waves is relative a user-friendly protocol for developers to start with, or it's more like an advancement for the blockchain savvy developers to begin with?
I mean, I'm not a smart contract developer. I'm more like the backend type of guy. But I can do some basic stuff in RIDE. It took me like 5 minutes to understand. And if I look at Solidity, it's going to take me, or EVM, it's going to take me quite some time to understand how to deploy a very simple smart contract.
And if so on our platform, we have lots of new onboarder who are seeking a transition from Web 2 to Web 3. So would you suggest to start with this transition on Waves protocol?
I would, because we've had We've had projects that started out with their Web3 venture on Waves, and later on they decided to be multi-chain compatible and start on converting their RIDE smart contracts to EVM compatible. And I've seen a lot of swear words from them, like, "Oh my God, we thought it was easy because it's so easy on Waves. Why is it so difficult anywhere else?" Obviously, I'm preaching for my own church here, but yeah, I think so. I think it's much easier to start working with blockchain technology on Waves than it is. Well, I'm not saying anywhere else because I don't know all the projects that exist, but it's definitely much easier than EVM compatible chains for sure.
Thank you. I think that's a fun answer that lots of our users are looking for. So thank you, Rob, for presenting such an insightful workshop. And I'm sure like it just not just me, but like me and the audience all find the presentation quite thorough and detailed. So we really appreciate your time and effort for delivering the session today. Now for Thank you. And then now for audience who are keen to know more about the workshops, the Waves Hackathon, or just have general questions to raise, feel free to reach out to Dora Hacks on social. And if you have questions, additional questions for Rob, also reach out us on social. We can help you guys to link up with Rob if you have any technical questions. And we will link our contact in the video bio below. And also ensure to follow us into Binance Live to keep up with the latest Web3 trends and technical workshops. We have routine workshops and demo session coming every week, so you don't want to miss it. Yeah, finally, thank you again, Rob, for joining us today, and we're looking forward to see you in the future episodes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, I mean, as a dev relation manager, I'm happy to just anyone can poke me with questions or just try me. And if you're competing in the hackathon and need help, there's $100,000 worth of prize money for building on Waves, and bother me 24/7. I'll try to help.
Yes. Awesome. Well, everyone, happy building, and I will see you in the future. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your week.